The story. The story of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey feels, well, a bit thin.
It's like butter scraped over too much bread.
Couldn't have said it any better. The source material with the appendices is still only around 3/4 of any of the trilogy books. When it was originally 2 films, I said, cool, that way each one will probably only work out to be about 2 hours long and fast-paced. Then after the movie split and the running time was announced, I was a little worried, but still optimistic. Boy, was I wrong. The plot at the end is no different than the plot at the beginning. We still don't know some of the dwarves, and none of the characters other than Bilbo have achieved anything. Bombur doesn't even get a line. I know people who have seen this movie a couple of times and didn't know that Bifur only speaks Khuzdul. Did you know that Ori was a scribe? I didn't know that. It wasn't until I saw the special features. All these characters took the back seat. And before you say, well, it's in the book, didn't you read the book? Yes, I have read the book. But the book and the movie are 2 separate art forms. The movie needs to be able to stand on its own. And the pace? Dangerously slow. The first act goes like this. Old Bilbo starts us off by going through some of his old belongings pertaining to the Lonely Mountain. This scene is not necessary. It should have never been written. Explain to me what this scene adds to the story other than reintroducing us to Middle-earth, in case we somehow forgot about the original trilogy. But that's what the prologue is for, right? This creates too many beginnings. We have a beginning with Old Bilbo, a beginning with a prologue, and a beginning with Young Bilbo. There's no reason why it couldn't have gone straight into the prologue, kind of like this.
You asked me once if I had told you everything there was to know about my adventures. And while I can honestly say I have told you the truth, I may not have told you all of it. It began long ago, in a land far away to the east, the like of which you will not find in the world today.
And then
It was the beginning of an unlikely friendship that has lasted all my life.
Now that's what I'm talking about. About an hour in, we're on our way to Erebor, rather casually I might add. We've had one action sequence and a flashback, which I really like actually. It reveals the importance of Thorin's background and his status amongst dwarves.
That filth died of his wounds long ago.
Until this. There's no ring wraiths to worry about galloping around. I guess Yaznag raises the stakes a bit, but rather than attack the dwarves,
Artur Pierre. Caused Corvil Kinani.
great, let's keep things slow. And we've seen this, which at this time is unrelated. Keep in mind at this point in the Fellowship, we've seen the prologue, Frodo inherits the ring, Gollum reveals the location of the ring wraiths come looking, Gandalf figures out it is the One Ring, Frodo chooses to take it to Bree with Sam, Saruman betrays Gandalf, and they make it to Bree. That all happened in an hour. Meanwhile in Snorfest, Odge, the dwarves are counting ponies. They fight the trolls for no reason other than to keep the viewers munching on their popcorn. Radagast shows up and tells us of the necromancer, which disturbs me from my nap. And I'm praying that this storyline will somehow affect the dwarves' journey. But no, it's just a subplot that never gets resolved in this film. Warg Scouts, thank God. Get this train moving. Yeah, that slingshot still doesn't do anything, Ori. Then they hide from the wargs in this cave and let the elves do all the fighting. Great. Great job, guys. Then only because Gandalf purposefully misguides them to Rivendell do we arrive to the middle of the film. They eat dinner, make some really bad jokes again, sing another song, and Elrond looks at the swords they found. Time for some expositional dialogue. Time to move the plot forward. Please. Thankfully, the story changes a little when we find out that they have limited time to reclaim Erebor.
Summer is passing. Durin's Day will soon be upon us.
We still have time
Time for what?
to find the entrance.
By the middle of Fellowship of the Ring, we've met Aragorn, who's decided they need to trek to Rivendell. Saruman is working with Sauron and begins building an army. The ringwraiths almost kill Frodo, and Aragorn barely saves him. Lurtz is born and looks pissed off. We meet Arwen, who takes Frodo and leads the wraiths on a great chase, narrowly escaping. Then at Rivendell, Gandalf is back. We establish that the race of men will play a big role in the fate of the ring. We establish a romantic element, and we have plot point 3. Look how far we've come with the story. It's grown and it's become more complicated.
We still have time
Time for what?
to find the entrance.
God damn it. Now we're into the second half. There's a big reveal that Azog is still alive. Oh, wow. Maybe he'll do a much better job than this guy did. You might say that the White Council scene thickens up the plot, but it really does no more than this scene. I like the White Council scene, but it only establishes that there are things to come. But how they're related to the dwarves' journey is not apparent, other than Gandalf's hunch.
They speak of a necromancer living in Dol Guldur.
A sorcerer who can summon the dead.
That's absurd. No such power exists in this world.
Wait, wasn't the hedgehog dead? Oh. Lazy writing. The dwarves leave without saying thanks and again are walking and dragging Bilbo along, even though Thorin still doesn't want him there. We have a walking sequence with epic music and epic scenery because, let's face it, it happened in Fodder. Except it made sense in Fodder because it was the first trek of the Fellowship. They're setting out for Mordor. It had meaning. This is just more of this. We have an impossible action sequence. How do these boulders not maim or kill anyone? How are they not falling to their deaths? Are their feet glued to the rock? Oh, look! 2 people hanging off cliffs. I'm falling out of my chair. I'm so excited.
The stone giant sequence doesn't really have any impact on the story, really.
God damn it. I would like to pretend that this scene never happened and I'll move on. Azog's still chasing them and seems to be getting closer. How they're tracking by scent in the rain, I don't understand. Bilbo has a good scene with Bofur. He decides he doesn't belong there and wants to go home. Thorin hears this and it really confirms what he's been saying the whole movie. This is an important scene for these 2 characters. Hey, a surprise. Something is actually putting their journey at risk. They might get captured and killed. How are they going to get out of this? And then Bilbo, with 0 sword training, manages to parry a blade 10 times. 10 times. We find the ring. Have Riddles in the Dark sequence, which ends with Bilbo taking pity on Gollum, a nice sequence. Gandalf shows up and saves the dwarves with a daring escape, and Bilbo decides to rejoin the company. This concludes the second act, even though the story still hasn't changed much, and we're back in the same situation as this. At this point in Fodder, we've learned some of Aragorn's backstory. They set out from Rivendell, found out they're being followed, find out Boromir can't be trusted, almost die in an avalanche from Sauron. Frodo chooses to go through Moria. They get attacked. Frodo and Gandalf have this scene. There's another daring escape. Gandalf falls in a very emotional scene. This quest is in peril now. Their leader is dead. We go to Lothlorien. We meet Galadriel, who gives Frodo advice, and Frodo chooses to keep on with the task. Back on The Hobbit, we're coming up to the grand finale. Oh no, it's Azog again, and he's shouting. Once again, all the dwarves are in mortal peril, but for some reason I feel like they'll escape unscathed. Thorin has a face-off with Azog. I guess this is supposed to be an echo of this. But it really is Thorin saying, fuck you, to his friends hanging off a cliff, so he can go get wasted by Azog. Great leadership if I've ever seen it. Race to the face. Then he pulls out the Oakenshield. Wait, what? Where did that come from? There's been no mention of it at all since this flashback. That was almost 2 hours ago. Has it seriously been on him this entire time? Shouldn't there have been a moment back here where Balin's like, that's how he got the name Oakenshield? Then Bilbo looks and sees the Oakenshield hanging on his back. Are we supposed to care that he dropped it? I didn't even know he had it. Anyways, Thorin turns out to be invincible, but still fails at killing Azog. Bilbo does something more heroic than Thorin, and Gandalf saves everyone's asses again. Some climax. In the Fellowship, they set off down the Great River. These guys are hot on their trails, but Aragorn and Legolas seem to feel their presence. It creates a sense of foreboding. There's a dramatic conflict. They make it into Gondor territory. Boromir tries to take the ring. Frodo catches a glimpse of what waits ahead. Aragorn overcomes the temptation of the ring. Our heroes engage in an epic fight to protect their friends. Boromir redeems himself by saving Merry and Pippin and kills a truckload of Uruk-hai. You taking notes, Thorin? He dies heroically and Aragorn kills Lurtz in an actual nail-biter of a fight. You taking notes, Thorin? Now for the denouement. The Hobbit has a beautiful flying sequence and a wimpy, dramatic climax. Then a cliffhanger ending that pretty much slaps the audience in the face. Oh, that's right. There's a dragon involved in this story. I kind of forgot about that. The Fellowship has this scene and this scene. It ties up all the loose ends, and you really feel like these characters have learned something. They've changed. In Auge, nothing related to their story is resolved at all. Azog is still out there, probably defiling Yazneg's butthole. They still have a long way to go, and Smaug is still there. What's different?
Durin's Day.
Ugh.
Summer is passing. Durin's Day will soon be upon us.
We still have time.
God damn it. I think this could have been a great film before they decided to pull a third film out of their asses. Based on the first trailer and the video blogs, we can estimate where the story of Aj would have gone before the split. We would still have the House of Beorn, Mirkwood, Bilbo climbing the tree, spiders, elves, more elves, the barrel sequence, and orcs. Now imagine if they crammed all that into 3 hours like they originally planned. You'd get, oh, I don't know, a fast-paced dramatic action fantasy like before.